Improv Theater's second Intro to Stand-Up showcase. I am so excited. We've got 10 students who for 4 weeks have worked extremely hard on their stand-up material, and I'm just very excited for them to be able to say it here to you on stage rather than a bunch of classmates on Zoom. Tough to react even with us unmuted. So we are going to actually have a special guest host tonight, which is such a treat. This comedian performs around DC and Maryland, Virginia, all over, produces shows, and so please welcome your host for the evening, Stacey Axler.
Keep it going for Elizabeth Fulton for setting up this show. Hi everyone, my name is Stacey Axler. You probably know who I am. You probably know who my mom is. She's got it going on. Anyone? That song, I couldn't go into Hot Topic for like 5 years because of that song. So, yes, but everyone knew who my mom is growing up. I didn't want people to know who I was. I was a very introverted person. I'm not a people person, really. My biggest fear growing up was getting kidnapped. And when I tell people that I have done a lot of kidnapping prevention. This is 100% true. I am prepared for the day I get kidnapped. And a lot of people tell me, Stacey, you're 30 now, you're not going to get kidnapped. Like, stop worrying about it. It's like, it's not wrong to worry. You know what is wrong? Getting kidnapped. Like, I'm doing the right thing. Because here's what I'm thinking. When are you going to get kidnapped? When your guard is down. Like, the kidnappers that have been following me around since I was 3 are waiting till now for me to finally be like, you know what? They're not coming. And that's when they're going to come in and write their little ransom note with the little newspaper. You all have seen that, right? They cut out the letters and they're like, we have kidnapped your child, Stacey. So it's not going to happen to me. But I would note to you potential kidnappers out here, I once went into an antique store, all right? And there was a really nice glass bowl in the corner, and I broke it. So these hands are dangerous. Stay away. Stay away. But yeah, I'm not a people person at all. I'm what I call introverted, but in my mind there are 2 types. What? Just round of applause. Who here is introverted? All of you, and I feel like all of you do comedy. So is there some scientific correlation here? Maybe, but here's my point. There is, in my mind, 2 types of introverts. One is introvert by design. These are the introverts who they always just prefer to be with a book. Like, these are the introverts who here has a computer that's not a Mac? And you know that moment, yep, a few of you. And you know that moment where, like, you haven't turned off your computer in a while, and then it starts making the fan sound? Where, like, it starts making that really loud, like, just sound, and then just all the windows won't work. And then it will flash that blue screen being like, something's gone wrong. That's what an introvert by design is. Like, eventually you just need to take it away from people and give it a little rest, like turn it off and turn it back on again because they can't deal with people anymore. That's what it is. I'm an introvert by nature. Like, I try to get along with people, but it is very difficult for me to do. I think part of the reason for that is I'm a people pleaser. Anyone else here? Yeah. Being a people pleaser is tough. At my job, I do social media stuff, and a few months ago, I didn't want to, I lied. This is what I'm trying to say. I did a big lie. The lie was I posted a picture of one of my board members, and I was like, you've gone viral. That's not true. But he's just so tickled that he's become a social media influencer, he's told everyone about it. He's like, everyone, I've gone viral. So then people are coming up to me being like, Stacey, can you make me go viral? And I'm like, you bet I can. And then 2 weeks later, I'm like, you've gone viral. And they're like, oh yeah, I told my kids. So I'm like a whole office full of like social media influencers who are not that way, but I'm attached to this cord. Whoopsie daisy. Everyone, my point is this. This is my big point. The other day, I was eating, I like meat, okay? This is my big point. I like meat. But my friend was like, eat this mushroom patty. It tastes like meat. It tasted fine. It didn't taste like meat. But that's not the point. The point is this. My friend was like, you know what? Mushrooms are smarter than people. They can communicate with all the trees in the forest. And they communicate with the grass. And they tell the trees how much water is needed. And I was sitting there and I was like, my God. Are mushrooms better at communicating than me? And if so, that's just not fair. So everyone eat those mushrooms. Everyone, I've been Stacey Axford. You've been a wonderful audience. I am so excited to welcome to the stage your first performer who is going to kick off a wonderful evening of comedy. Everyone, give the best round of applause you've ever given for the very funny Lauren Hanna, everyone.
So as you can see, I am not the tallest person in the room. Yes, when you are my height, as some people like to call vertically challenged, people come up with lots of fun nicknames for you. You know, there's short stuff, half pint, armrest, fun-sized, little shrimp, which at first I was like, that's just redundant. And then I realized I was doubly insulted. But the first thing people usually say when they come up next to me is, boy, I didn't realize you were that short. I'm like, uh-huh. Because what response do you have to that? It's not like I was the tallest person in my class since and then I stopped growing when I was 10. No, I come from short stock. We're little people. As my dad used to say so lovingly, oh, I'm sorry, little sweet potato. We just didn't give you much to start with. And yeah, so because of that, my parents set a very, very low, but very, very specific bar for me. My brother and I, all they wanted was for us to be taller than them. And wouldn't you know it, we will always be disappointments to our parents because we are both 1/2 inch shorter than our respective mom and dad. Yep. I have 2 master's degrees, and I will always be a failure. Always. And it's not just that. I've failed to get onto amusement park rides when I'm not wearing platform shoes. I've failed to be waited on in a store because the cashier just waits on the person who's standing right behind me. But the earliest and most crushing failure happened when I was in 1st grade. When I was in 1st grade, my local professional theater had an open call for The Wizard of Oz. And the first thing he did, we walked into the rehearsal studio, and there was a line on that wall, like when you're going to an amusement park, except it was, if you want to be a munchkin, you have to be under this line. And I should have known that there was something up when they handed 2 forms to my mother because she was also under this line. So, I get everything filled out, I go in and I do my audition, and I'm waiting for them to say whatever they're gonna say, and the casting director says to me, "Oh, sweetie, you're so cute, but you're just too little." And at the time, because I was in 1st grade, I took this very literally. I'm thinking, well, guess I just don't want people who are 3'9". But then the more I thought about it, I became incensed, because how can one be too munchkin? The Webster's Dictionary definition is a small person who is usually endearing. Little, cute, that's the definition of a munchkin. But I digress. You know, when you're short, everything seems to happen over your head. Everything's over your head. Peepholes, deadbolts, windows, conversations. And when I was in college, I remember one of my friends said to me, "Oh, Lauren, in my state, you could get a handicapped parking pass." I'm like, I don't need a handicapped parking pass. I don't need to be closer to the store. You know, I will get there. I may take twice as many steps as you, but I will get there. No. I need something in terms of height. So, you know, what can I do? The worst place of all is the grocery store. Because no matter what I want in the grocery store, it could be pickles, it could be crackers, it could be jam, it's on the top shelf. And not just like on the top shelf, but like kind of pushed back on the top shelf. So, you know, most people have their notes to themselves in, you know, when they want to go to the store that says to remember to bring your bags with you. I have a note that says remember to bring your climbing gear, because I am either going to have to MacGyver something out of a box to get it off, or I'm scaling those shelves. And I know I could ask someone for help, but I am a small but independent woman who has been patted on the head one too many times when someone has handed them the Greek yogurt. So, I have a very specific recurring dream about this, that this is going to be the way that I die. One day, I'm going to be in the store, and that fancy Bun Mama cherry preserves are up at the tippy top shelf, 2 jars high, and I'm gonna have to go climbing. So there I go, I'm climbing the shelves, I'm reaching and just about to get it when my foot slips and the entire shelves like they either crush me, or, you know, maybe one of those jars slices my jugular, and by the time anyone realizes that it's not just jam, it's too late. But I'd like to think that if there's a heaven, my dad will be there waiting for me, and he'll wrap me up in a big, big hug and say, "Oh, my little sweet potato, only you were just an inch taller." Thank you so much, everyone.
Hey everyone, I'm Hamad Hassan. No need to freak out. No one here is now Muslim. You don't have to fast Ramadan. Sharia law is not coming to get you. You're fine. That's just how you say my name in Arabic. And if you've picked up on my accent, you figured out that I'm not from America. I'm from Bahrain. And my parents saw what Sony did to Crash Bandicoot on PlayStation 1 when they region locked the game and thought, fuck this kid. You know, I didn't come to America until college, so I was 18, traveling for the first time on my own, you know, breaking out as my own adult person. And on that 14-hour flight, I spent the time writing down everything I knew about America. And I realized that everything came from 3 sources: the news, 30-year-old sitcoms that aired way too late in the Middle East. True story, the first season of Full House was a revelation my junior year of high school. And of course the third source is Dr. Phil. And if you think a talentless, unqualified middle-aged white man can make it far in America, you should come to the Middle East. This joke was brought to you by the Ministry of Labor and Foreign Affairs. I landed JFK, right? Long flight done, tired, but like energetic, ready to do this. As I'm like waiting in line to get to passport control, I'm thinking like, I've got this. I've done the interview to get here. I have this stack of paperwork that I know everything on, like the back of my hand. And then I get to the front of the line and my heart falls out of my asshole because the officer has a pair of Oakley sunglasses on. And that's when I realized I'd repressed a fourth source of information about America. That show Cops. Anyone familiar with it? And if you're not familiar, essentially it's a bunch of middle-aged cops who beat the shit out of people, and they all, for some reason, are wearing Oakley sunglasses. And so naturally, I get to the front of the line and I have to pull out one of these because I know what this guy is about to find inside my passport. See, every government-issued ID photo of me looks like something CNN would put out after a terrorist attack. It's one of these. And it doesn't help that the Bahraini passport is red and has Arabic calligraphy in golden on the front. So I'm standing there, kind of freaking out as this guy is fumbling with my passport, right? He's like... And he opens it, and obviously it doesn't open that way, so I try to guide him gently. And I was like, sorry, it opens the other way, it's Arabic. Because I also had an accent until the end of freshman year of college. And he opens it up, and he looks at me and just goes, Mahmoud Hussein, you're coming to the back room with me, please. That's not fun. You know, I was like ready to come into America, and here I'm going to this unidentified back room for further screening. It wasn't that bad of an experience. I think the only thing that really stuck with me was that it took 6 hours and an incessant night of questioning to get out of there. And by the time I got my passport back, I found myself thinking, what the fuck, dude? Like, Dr. Phil turns around 3 people's lives in an episode, and an episode is 20 minutes. How could this guy not figure out that I am the person I am with this of papers? Anyways, thank you all so much.
Keep it going for Mohammed. I love Dr. Phil. And also, I'm super excited to welcome our next stand-up coming to the mic, going to absolutely destroy. Please keep it going for Mike Chellen, everyone.
So things have been sort of difficult in the world recently, and that's during these times I try to remember that everything has trade-offs. There's good and bad about everything, and I just want people to remember the upsides, like the positives of death. Just hang on, I'll try to explain. So I was renting a car recently. Like, I don't own a vehicle, I was renting a car, and it's one of these new cars that it's all keyless. It's all electronic, it's very fancy, very new. And I was going to try to start the car. I get in, I can't find any place where the key goes. I can't figure out how to turn the car on. I'm hitting every button I can possibly see on the car. I've turned the windshield wipers on and off. I've popped the trunk a couple times, and I've turned the radio really loud. The car is not starting. I cannot figure out how to start this vehicle. So now here I am as a full-grown adult trying to decide if I need to go and talk to the customer support at the rental car company to explain to them that I don't know how to make this car be a functional car. It's beyond me, and I can't bring myself to do that. I'm like, this is I can't acknowledge that. So I'm like, I can figure this out. I press down on the brake. I plug my seatbelt in, and I just hit all the buttons on the car at once at the same time, and eventually the car starts. I'm like, yes, this is amazing. I figured this out. But then I was thinking about it, and I'm like, I've already learned how to start a car. I learned this like years ago. Like I spent time, I took classes, I learned how to make a vehicle work. And now I have to learn this all over again. And how many times am I going to have to do this during the course of my, during the course of my life? Like I'm going to have to learn it 2 times, 3 times, 5 times more. And that's when I realized that this problem I can just wait out. I can just ignore cars at some point. I will grow increasingly ignorant, and eventually mortality will come along and solve the problem for me. And that just really made me feel relaxed and a lot calmer. It's just like a huge load off. And I think that's been really helpful, just sort of like understanding the trade-offs of different situations. You know, you gotta find the good stuff and the bad. Understanding the trade-offs, having expectations around that. I think expectations are a really big part of enjoyment as well. I got home the other day and there's a very official looking letter in my mailbox. And so I picked it up and I'm like, oh shit, this looks, super official. It's got like, no symbols on the outside or anything. It's got my address. It's got one of those like perforated things that you have to open. I'm like, what's happening here? This is a big deal. So I go inside, I sit down, I put my stuff down. I'm like, I better be ready. I'm starting to think, what could be happening? Did I forget to pay my taxes for the past 5 years? Am I about to be like, the electricity's gonna be shut off? And I open it, and it's an advertisement for car insurance. And I don't own a car. I'm like, this is completely worthless to me. And, normally, any other piece of like spam or whatever, like I wouldn't care that much. Like it's not a big deal. I'd be like, oh yeah, this is stupid. I'll throw it in the trash, whatever. But because I had been worked up to this extent, now I'm furious. Now I'm really upset. Now I actually want it to be something serious. Now I'm hoping that it's an eviction notice because I've already gone through the effort of being upset and worried about this, and they've let me down. So I think expectations play a really big part. And, just in enjoyment. And there are very few things that have just purely positive expectations. I think the only thing that I know of that is really just consistently positive for me is new cheese. Now, just to explain what new cheese is like, when you're at the grocery store and you're walking down the aisle and you're looking at the cheddar, you're like, that's pretty good. You're looking at the Swiss, you're like, oh, always could totally go for Swiss. And then you see something different. You see a triple cream goat cheese wrapped in nettle leaves, and you're like, what is this? I've never had this before. I've never seen this before. This is the best moment because this cheese can be anything. This is a mystery. This is an adventure waiting to happen. And the thing about it is this expectation cannot go wrong. If you get it home and you take out this cheese, you buy it, it's your first time, and it tastes like wet raccoon, you're like, it's still cheese, it's still really good. If you get it out and you're like, this reminds me faintly of like dried bicycle grease. Like, okay, I'm still finishing it, it's still cheese, I'm gonna love it. So, if nothing else, if you can't have any other good expectations, you can always go back and know that new cheese will never let you down. Thank you.
Keep it going for Mike Taylor. into the microphone. Please make a lot of noise for the very funny Jasmine Segal, everyone.
Move a lot. So my parents named me Jasmine. So it should come as no surprise that I have a princess complex. Ever heard of the Disney movie Aladdin? Jasmine's the princess, she flies around on this magic carpet, and then she rubs Aladdin's dick, and then a genie comes out and gives her orgasms. It should come as no surprise then that ever since I was 5 years old, my life ambition has been to become a princess, because obviously Disney named that movie after me. So the princess complex is actually quite well known in various Asian cultures, and it's exactly how it sounds. It's this sense of entitlement, narcissism, extreme materialism, and vanity. So basically, millennials. So you and I both know that life is not always a magic carpet ride. Truthfully, my therapist says that past trauma is why I'm so bad at dating. But I think it's because most men fail to recognize that I'm a motherfucking princess! Truthfully, I think my level of princessiness should be inversely proportional with my partner's level of effort. In other words, if the man I'm dating does not care about my happiness, then I am entitled to steal his credit card, invest in a 24-karat gold vibrator, and adopt man's best friend. That's right, a dick-biting tiger! You wouldn't believe the Jasmine-related pickup lines I get on online dating apps. They're like, "Hey, I'd love to ride your magic carpet," or "Can I be your Aladdin?" Or my personal favorite, "Hey, princess. Wanna fuck?" Yeah. So, as you may be aware, I have yeah, struggled with this, like a lot. I actually had better luck with dating as a Peace Corps volunteer in a tiny town in rural Costa Rica. Now, for those of you who don't know, Peace Corps is this 2-year summer camp for mostly middle-class white people. Peace Corps sets you up with a host family, and then they train you in the local language, and then they surprise you with your first explosive diarrhea on a public bus. My Peace Corps host mom was actually a magnificent matchmaker. At first, I just thought that she was introducing me to her family, and they all just happened to be men. But it turns out in this devious effort to keep me in the country and in her family forever, she was introducing me to her male relatives, whom she would call, and this is kind of sweet, except that she would call them my cousins. It would be like, "Jasmine, this is your cousin Eduardo. He is a fireman, and he's single!" The worst was when we were driving in this beat-up old van, miles of dirt roads and pineapples and all around, and I'm sitting in this van, and all of a sudden my host mom, out of nowhere, screams, "Stop! Stop!" like the van is about to explode. And I'm frantic. I'm like, "Mama, ¿qué pasó? What happened?" And she's like, "Your cousin, he's here." And all of a sudden, she shoves me out of the van onto the dirt road in the middle of nowhere, where I see this truck idling, a mysterious man behind the wheel. And as soon as I turn around, the van with my host family, gone. Like the economy on COVID, gone. So my choices are to commune with the pineapples and potentially die of heat stroke, or I can get in the truck and potentially get murdered by my cousin. So I get in the truck. It's fine, I don't die. He's telling me he's got 3 kids with 3 different women. Would I like to be his 4th girlfriend? He's probably got 5 condoms and 6 STDs. My God, that trip was long. And so, despite my host mom's best efforts to get me knocked up by my cousin, I didn't end up with anyone. In fact, I tell this story, but I actually loved Peace Corps, just as I loved my host mom, my family, and all the friends I made there. I am still coming to terms with the fact that I am not royalty, but I did learn that Disney's Aladdin was released after I was born, which proves that that motherfucking princess was named after me! And while dating in the United States has sucked balls, I feel very grateful to have met a real genie, my vibrator. Thank you.
Keep it going for Jasmine Fuller! Oh my goodness. Everyone, the comedy doesn't stop, and we are about to welcome our next wonderful stand-up to the microphone. Please make some noise for the very funny Michael Leeson, everyone!
Oh, I'm so glad this showcase started at 7:30 because it started at 5 o'clock. I wouldn't be here. I'd be at home feeding my cat. So I've got a couple cats. One of them, Travis, he demands I feed him every day at exactly 5 o'clock on the dot. I don't know how he knows this, but his body clock is so impeccable, so fine-tuned. He knew the time change last month. Every day around 4 o'clock or so, you know, when I'm finished up work, he'll jump in front of me. He'll stare at me. His eyes not blinking. He's thinking, "Ooh, I know you, human. Pretty soon you'll be feeding me this fancy feast, wet food, tuna flavor. It's gotta be tuna flavor. I don't like tuna flavor. It's gotta be tuna flavor." And meanwhile, I'm thinking, yeah, you're a cat. What else is there? That time of the day again. And as soon as 5 o'clock the dot hits, he lets out this series of meows. Like, it's so loud that it's been clocked at 200 decibels. And you don't need me, y'all just know that that is loud. So Travis, he was like, meow, meow, and I'm like, well, at least on the rooster call that, close my laptop. It works on the day. My other cat, Ellis, he's not as vocal. Even though Maine Coons are usually vocal, he's not. He's a strange cat. Even for cats are strange, he's stranger than strange. Which is really telling something. The only time he is vocal is at 5 o'clock in the morning. That's the only time that he'll eat his Korean one, a kibble bit, salmon flavor with high fiber. The reason, well, he don't let me tell you this, but the reason he eats high fiber is he has some digestive issues. Let's just say the high fiber is very healthy for him. That's all I'll get to now. But anyway, at 5 o'clock in the morning, he lets out these very shrill mouths, like. Like, I'm serious, like, if you've never heard of him, which you wouldn't, because you're probably all sleeping at 5 o'clock in the morning, you'd be like, is that like a cat, dying cat? I've never heard that sound before. Fortunately, since I have a hearing aid, you can see this bright, shiny hearing aid right here, and I take them out when I sleep, I'm immune to these meows. So normally, I'd be sleeping, but unfortunately, since my girlfriend is of normal hearing, she has to bear the brunt of these meows. But being the sweet, gentle girlfriend she is, when she hears the meows, she taps me 3 times on the shoulder. She says, "Michael, time to wake up, feed the cat." I'm like, yeah, I know, I'll feed the cat. My third cat's name is, I'm sorry, I don't have 3 cats. In my opinion, a man with more than 2 cats is not the same man. And I'm telling that more to myself, I'm telling that to you. So anyway, my 3 cats and I, sorry, my 2 cats and I, the 3 of us, we used to like to alternate turns on this lazy boy chair. You like for lazy boy chairs over couches or recliners, or normal chairs, love seats. I love lazy boys. But anyway, I really can't afford 3 of them. It wouldn't be economic sense to have 3 of them. So what my cats and I do is we take turns, we rotate once per hour. First Travis will jump up, go nap, then I'll jump up and scare him off. Then, when I want to nap and work, I'll take the recliner from us. Eventually, the recliner broke. I don't know who broke it, but it sure wasn't me. But I was like, oh man, I gotta get a new recliner, inflation. Oh man, this is gonna be a pain. So I go down to Lazy Boy. I tried a few recliners. Your first one, I like it. I'm like, oh wow, this is a nice recliner. Then I see the price tag. I'm like, whoa, never mind. So that second recliner, it's okay, but it goes up to my back. I'm like, I'm gonna be going like this. I don't want to be getting whiplash. Travis or something or something. The third recliner, I really like. It's like a really nice recliner. It's just like my my old recliner that's not broken. So I go to the sales lady. I was like, okay, I like this recliner. When can be delivered? She brings up a computer. She said, oh, it'll be delivered, let's see, in October. I'm like, October? I don't want to wait 6 months for a recliner. And she goes, no, I'm sorry, I meant October 2023. I'm like, well, there we go, supply chain woes, what do you know? So anyway, I'm driving home, I get home. The time I get home is actually at 5:01 p.m. And one person is very hangry, and the other person is very grumpy because you have nowhere to take a nap.
Keep it going for Michael Leeson, everyone! And his 2 cuts! All right, everyone, we are gonna keep the show rolling. Oh my goodness, I am so excited to bring up this next comedian. Absolutely gonna destroy. Please make some noise for the very funny Anusha Vizafragata, everyone!
Hi everyone, thank you so much. I'm Anusha. So if you can't tell by now, I didn't go to high school with you. I just looked like the Asian sidekick best friend in every high school movie. Yeah, I do that because at least she was someone's friend and someone's sidekick, unlike my entire experience in high school. I'm an Indian person, and I spent the first decade and a half of my life in Dubai before immigrating to America with my parents. So I moved to this very small town in the south called Columbus, and I'm from Dubai. This city is known for being one of the most innovative cities. Dubai had public transport, driverless public transport since 2009, and I moved to this town, or well, actually the second largest city in Georgia, that discontinued public transport. So this was the perfect catalyst to begin an identity crisis. Yeah, my parents didn't think their decision through, but it is what it is. A lot of people like me were called third culture kids because we're raised in 2 or more cultures away from our home culture. So my home culture being India, the 2 cultures I was raised away, Dubai and America. So it's an interesting experience because you always have this cultural, you don't know where your cultural identity lies. So a lot of people, what happens is, it's not always a bad thing. TCKs are known to be highly adaptive, very empathetic, culturally sensitive, and multilingual. So I speak 4 languages, 4 languages. Oh, yeah. I speak fluent Telugu, Hindi, and a mix of 2 dialects of English if you haven't noticed already. So in one dialect, the one that you're familiar with, when someone graduates college, they say, congratulations on graduating college. In another dialect, the one that I was raised in, when you graduate college and pass all of your classes, people say, congratulations on passing out. I really wish I knew this before I started high school here. Because when I started, or in an attempt to make friends, what I would do is start a conversation by saying, hey, are you excited to pass out next year? That's probably why I don't have friends. I'm glad I realized that before I said that in an interview where I passed out in 2020, can you please hire me? But the worst part I want to interviews though is the question, tell me about yourself. Because for me, as I just narrated, that's a life story, which usually ends up in tears, which I couldn't afford during an interview. So what I did instead, you save the tears that when you begin working in corporate America and realize how deep-rooted capitalism is. So I did the next best thing when someone asked me, tell me about yourself. I capitalized on my weakness, which was not knowing where I'm culturally loyal to, because I'm an Indian citizen with a Dubai residence visa living in America. So when someone asks me now, tell me about yourself, I just look them straight in the eye with so much confidence. What I mean is, I have no idea where I belong. I don't know who I am. But what I say is, I'm a global citizen, I'm adaptive, and the world is my home. I got the job. I'm actually independent. But I still live at home. So I never moved out for college. I still live at home. I'm 21. Again, financially independent, it's my choice. But I absolutely hate it. And it's not for like basic reasons, because I open my phone and I see the family group chat. And it's flooded with every possible nagging text, ranging from, when are you going to be home? What do you want for dinner? Did you eat lunch? The problem wasn't the texts. The problem was the fact that on my phone, they were showing up as the blue bubbles. I was sending them. Yeah. So essentially, at that point, all that I could say is, were you too busy to reply to one text, Mom? And honestly, I think she was, because not everyone's social life is non-existent as mine. And I just had to come to terms with the fact. My parents have more events to attend to in a day than I have friends. And these are friends I made after realizing the difference between passing out and graduating. So right now, it's basically me spamming them with every possible nagging text. So I decided that I'm 21, I need to be an adult about this, I can't keep sulking. So I decided to focus on my hobbies. 1, cooking. 2, script writing. And if you all continue laughing, 3 would be stand-up comedy. So the problem with cooking though is I thrive on praise and validation. So unless someone compliments the dish that I'm making, I wouldn't do it the next day. The second problem is, in my house, when you begin cooking, it's considered helping out. So my hobby essentially became a chore at this point. And when you start doing things, people expect things from you. So the other day I get a text from my mom saying, hey, I forgot my lunch, can you drop some off? They only text me when they need me. Middle-aged kids. Sorry, parents. So yeah, what I do during my entire lunch break is make 2 versions of the same sandwich, pack them into paper bags, drive into my minivan, drop it off for them, and this essentially became a routine. So I end my routine by going and standing and waiting in the drive-thru line in my Toyota Sienna with all the other soccer moms. Yeah, I was a 21-year-old living the life of a 45-year-old white soccer mom. Yeah, I've come to terms with it, it's okay. But one thing that really annoyed me is, why was I doing these things? Maybe it was because I was scammed into by the way that I was raised, or if I was genuinely a good person. Turns out it's not the first, because I have an older sister, and she also lives and works from home, and there's no expectation from her at all. And this just made me wonder why this happened. Because she will go out of her way to prove that she's not helpful, so no one even asks anything. Which is really smart. I wish I did that. I really wish I did that. So, and then I thought about it some more, and then I figured it out. It was the moment of truth. She moved to America 2 years before I did. So obviously she figured out how to capitalize on things. All that she was capitalizing on was my need for praise and validation, which might be a self-worth problem, but we're not going to get into that. And using it for her own benefit. Thank you so much.
Bring up our next wonderful stand-up to the microphone. Please make some
told to take our time. So. Oh, wait, I don't want this. This is not part of my set. I'm so sorry. Oh, fuck. Chances of that. Okay. Whew. Does anyone else here lie to their doctor? Yeah, I do all the time. During my annual checkup, she'll ask me, any anxiety or depression? I look at her and I give it a brief ponder, just for dramatic effect, and say, nope. And then there's, how much alcohol do you drink? I don't know, I guess whatever amount doesn't medically obligate you to revisit the mental illness questions. Very recently, we were discussing how I'm gluten-free because my body hates me somehow more than I do. And she said, do you have any other GI tract issues? Again, I gave it a brief pause and said, no. Fast forward maybe 7 minutes, and Fidel Gastro starts rumbling. Fidel Gastro is what I call my stomach because I have no say in what happens there. I would say ask my doctor, but again, she has no record of stomach issues in her files. So Fidel starts rumbling, and I, not in like a feed me kind of way, but more in a Cuban Missile Crisis kind of way. And I shuffle past the check-in window, the lady sitting there on her computer, run to my car, and I drive straight to my favorite independent health food store and take the most liberating emergency shit of my life. But no, doctor, I don't have GI tract issues. Emergency shits, or as I call them, shit-emergencies, are just something I put up with. And you know what? I blame society. Because women are expected to just push through pain and discomfort, right? Yep. Speaking of which, I'd like to tell a story about a blowjob that I once gave. To a man named Tyler, of course. We all know a Tyler. In middle school, he was the apprehensive redhead. Think early movies Ron Weasley. In high school, he was the gangly, awkward kid. Think later movies Ron Weasley. And then you see him a few years out of college, and he's this chiseled, just stubbly enough 8.5. Think later movies Severus Snape. We all agree that Snape is an 8.5, right? Anyway. So I'm giving Tyler a blowjob because I'm amazing. Yes. And from him I hear a very feeble Liz. Anxious and perpetually self-conscious, I took his cock out of Fidel Gastro, and I said, oh, is this okay? Am I doing good? And he's like, oh yeah, no, it's fine. I don't feel well. Like, okay. So I stand up, Gap skinny jeans at the ankles, and Tyler leans over and pukes. Vomits. Just everywhere. Yeah. And not to be a bitch, but like, I can't believe he didn't even try to swallow when I was totally prepared to do that for him. Stuck. He did last longer than most men in my experience, though. I would say most times straight men usually puke immediately upon seeing me. Aww. Tyler and I have discussed the events of that night, and it's fine. I'm over it. He's not, though. He still apologizes to this day for something that happened 6 years ago, which I just find so unnecessary. Like, I should be apologizing to him. I didn't even let him puke on my chest. You know what else lasted 6 years? All of World War II. As a Jewish woman, bear with me, I'll say that these two events actually have me feeling similarly, and that is never again. Thank you.
Keep it going for Elizabeth Lynch. Oh my goodness. Everyone, the comedy does not stop on a Wednesday, and right now I am overjoyed to welcome our next stand-up. Coming to the microphone, please make some noise for Kevin Eggleston, everyone.
Hi. Look at you all. I have to relate to you. How am I gonna do that? I am a white, gay princess. I love Baby Yoda, Hillary Rodham Clinton, gentrification, and responsible social distancing, except for frequent casual sex. Are any of you even gay? Okay, wow, that's worse. I know how to relate. Just like you, I hate flying. I hate flying. Do you relate to that? Of course you do, you're not birds. Do you know how much I hate flying? Here's a clue. I hate flying so much. Flames from the side of my face. I hate flying so much, I once took an 18-hour Amtrak to Provincetown. Yeah. I hate driving, too. I can read statistics. I'm not gonna die like Princess Di. Like Princess Grace. In a car. No. This princess prefers to stay still and alone. And I managed to do that for almost all of the Panini Panorama and through all 7 of my Dolly doses and my Fauci ouchies. Honestly, it's been the best 2 years of my life. And then came my brother, who invited me to his bachelor party in Scottsdale, where straight people go to do shot after shot of coronavirus. Oh, you should have heard him on the phone. He was all, "Sorry for the late invite, bro. I was worried you wouldn't want to come." So, of course, I have to tell him, no. I love to wait in the security line, get flagged in the naked scanner, like always, and invariably be approached by the TSA guy who's all, "Hey, Chief, is it okay? I need to touch your knees." And I have no choice. I have to consent. I said, "Yes, sir, I am kink-friendly." And invariably, the TSA guy starts to touch my little bony knob. I have weird, knobby knees. And he's all, "What's this?" "The machine flagged it." And I'm like, "It's my knob!" My mom and my grandma tell me I'm bow-legged like that. Do you need me to take off my pants? 'Cause I will. But I don't tell my brother this. No. Because I am a saint, an angel in America, I It would delight me to make sure your strippers are properly hydrated and don't end up dead. And he goes, thanks, bro. I love you, asshole. He didn't even offer a hunk to strip for me. It's called bigotry. Well, now I'm freaking out. First, I'd have to fly, and I hate that. And second, I'd probably get the omicromedy, which shoots right past the Fauci ouchies. Well, it was just too much. I didn't know what to do. So I FaceTimed the most level-headed, COVID-careful Tucker Carlson fan I know. My mother in Minneapolis. First I said, Mom, can you turn Tucker down? I have to update her parental controls. Then I said, Mom, what do I do? He's my only brother, as far as she's admitted. But I hate flying. That's how I relate to a mass audience. And worst of all, he didn't even offer to get a gentleman to strip for me. I can't go, can I? And my mother turns to me from her cable news, a tanned and wizened crone, misty cigarette dangling from her lips. And she's all, yeah, geez, of course you're going. You show up to airport security, and you look long and hard, and you pick a line with the most handsome TSA hunkaroo to touch your knob. Mother's always right. The fruit never falls far. You know, I lied. I love flying. And I just purchased 2 Rainbow Premier first-class tickets to Scottsdale. It's fabulous. And all the rest of you will be behind the curtain where you belong.
Hey. So I travel internationally a lot for work, which has led my in-laws to believe that I'm a spy, which, of course, I can neither confirm nor deny. And all this travel is really amazing and it's fun, but it's also led to some pretty bizarre experiences. Like one time I took this work trip to Zambia, and it was a week long, and because of how far away it is, you spend about 4 days on the plane and 3 days in the office bathroom with food poisoning. So on this particular trip to Zambia, my layover was in Atlanta, where we met up with all of the people who spent their layover chain smoking in the hermetically sealed TGI Fridays. Which, if you're not familiar with this concept, it's sort of a glass jail where you can see these people eating bottomless potato skins and drinking 48-ounce margaritas and sucking down 9 cigs before their next flight. And no shade for that. Like, that's fine. What I think is outrageous about this whole prospect is that we can see them from outside of this, like, vape aquarium, which is not, it's not the TGI Fridays experience that TGOD intended for us. Like, you're supposed to be able to enjoy TGI Fridays in near darkness in a building that's next to, but not in, the second nicest mall in your town. So I managed, to take this flight to Zambia, and then I got food poisoning. And it was from this bad chicken Caesar wrap that I ate, which was so stupid because it was like my 9th meal in 24 hours. Because I'm one of those people who will eat if I'm in a plane. Like, no matter what you put in front of me, I will eat it. Like, it doesn't matter if I'm hungry or what time I'm like pretending it is to trick jet lag. It doesn't matter. And we've got super long haul flights. They even have stickers. They give them out at the beginning of the flight. You can put them on your headrest. So the flight attendants know your preferences without having to wake you up. And there are like 3 categories of these. So the first one is for the people who like mummify themselves for the flight. And it says, I have fallen into a liminal state of suspended animation. Thanks to some off-label dosage of Elevant Xanax. I have no need for your earthly sustenance. And the second category is for Goldilocks. It's like, I'm a respectable member of society and I have reasonable habits, so wake me up for all of the normal meals. And the third category is the one that I'm in. It's full send. I don't care if I just ate an hour ago or am currently eating while I am sleeping. If you don't wake me up for the flatbread pizza, you will never hear the end of this on Twitter. So I got food poisoning from like my 78,000th calorie of the day, which is what I would like to think is the explanation for what happened next, because I got to Zambia and I got into the car of someone I knew was not my driver and allowed him to take me to a random office park in the capital of Zambia. And the story of that self-kidnapping is for another night, but I didn't do enough prevention. So despite mishaps like this, I actually do like to do international travel for fun too. And my husband and I were on our honeymoon in February 2020, a casual time. And we decided to go to Laos. And so we wanted to be like good tourists and learn about the culture and feel good about ourselves as white people. So we signed up to spend an afternoon on a rice farm. And normally I don't buy into this racket of paying for the privilege of giving away your agricultural labor, which the pumpkin spice babes will call apple picking. But I decided to do it and thought maybe that at least we would be sort of partially repaying some of the debt that we owe Laos from the damage we inflicted on them, thanks to America's somehow still alive favorite war criminal, Henry Kissinger. You can Google that. So we took the tour of the farm. We take these incriminating photos holding hammers and sickles, and our guide takes us over to this Olympic pool-size pit of fertilizer, and into which 2 water buffaloes are just actively taking burrito-sized dumps. So our guide does a lap around the ship pond with a water buffalo, Susan, and a plow. And he makes his way all the way around and comes back. And I'm thinking we're ready to move on to stage 3, harvesting. But he turns to our group and he's like, who's next? So I'm already calculating in my mind how long it's going to take us to get through customs once we've declared this little agricultural cosplay at immigration. So I'm not about to volunteer to get knee-deep in the shit pond. But there's this Swiss guy on our tour, and he turns to us and he's like, what does your president say? America first. Thanks.
Washington, D.C., are you here? Washington, D.C., that's capital of America. That's capital of the free world. And the love to tell people that I'm from Washington, D.C. You know, when you say you're from Washington, D.C., people go, oh, you know, we kind of impute some sort of importance. You're near to the seat of power. Well, I don't actually live in Washington, D.C., actually. I live in a suburb, that's close enough, right? Washington, don't you hate those people, though, that fill up Washington that kind of, you know, want to look like they're important, they name drop, they've been on the Hill, K Street. Don't you just hate those kind of people? Show hands. Right. Me too. Can't stand it. Washington, D.C., me, I'm like at a tall. What I do here is I'm a professional futurist. Yes, futurist. That's the thing now. That's only one of my jobs. You see, I'm a good Jamaican immigrant. I'm sure you've heard about us. And so I gotta have more than one job. Yeah, I'm a futurist. You see now, engineer, social entrepreneur, storyteller, that's 4. And number 5, I'm a wife. That means extra work. Anyway, so I'm a professional futurist, and in case you wondered what that is, it's somebody who helps people to see things more clearly. And by that I mean, not see things like, you know, look through a crystal ball or do navel gazing, because I have it on good authority, you see, that most professional futurists are hairy and bald and male and physiologically unable to see their navels. I also assure you that my being a futurist has nothing at all to do with seeing the ghosts of Christmas gifts pass, you know, those you have regifted that come back to haunt you. Not that. And I am not the one you call on the 800 like that fake Jamaican accent woman who sings something clear and nobody remember her, who failed to see that she was going to get a felony charge. Not that. I am a bona fide futurist, yes. I even made Forbes 50 female futurists in the world list. So, I go to this World Future Society conference up the road at the Hilton, and there's about 1,000 or so futurists in there talking about the future of the world and the future of the planet and climate change and AI and everything else. And there's this big name, big time, you know, brand name speaker whose name I cannot call for fear of you know what. And he's talking about, yes, you know, you're going to be the first American company to mine the moon. Actually, the first company in the world to mine the moon. And I fully intend to go to the U.S. Congress, Senate, and even the Supreme Court, if necessary, to get the permit. And I'm saying to myself, wait a minute. I thought the moon was common property. You mean to say Washington, D.C. is that's capital of the galaxy now? Blows and skirt. So, and he's talking, and people are getting hyped up, you know what I mean? And this guy, beefy guy, yes, jumps up and he says, yes! Yes, yes, yes! America first! Let's go up there first! We're gonna mine the moon first! We're gonna get all of that coal tan! We need the minerals for 5G, 6G, 7G phones! Yes, we're gonna get there first! Because, you know, the moon is there, it's just up there doing nothing! And the room erupts into applause and laughter, and he's standing there beaming and he's steaming, and I'm thinking, blouse and skirt, did I hear right? The man just said the moon is up there doing nothing. Nothing? You mean after several millennia, the man in the moon that has been revolving around the sun for so long is doing nothing? I'm on good authority from Physics 101 that the moon at least ensured that the earth retained her gravitational pull and that the tides were because of the moon. And that's why we're not drowning. 1. 2, the moon is up there saving us from being roasted alive like a jerk chicken by the moon. I mean, I like jerk chicken, but still. 3, the moon, whether or not scientists want to believe it, have an effect on human behavior and wolves. So wolves and women need the moon Luna stands for moon. Tick, tick, the sound of a woman as a bomb about to explode when she's not regular. Lunatic. Well, however, let me tell you, after this event, we were standing around drinking space-themed drinks, and I was there with the analog astronaut crew. This is the thing, too, I'll tell you more about that later. And I said to myself, I will not say too much because I'm the only melanated person in this circle, and I don't want to be kicked out. So I'm just sipping my drink and being quiet. And this lovely redhead, well-meaning, no doubt a middle child, if you know what I mean, possibly one who had just come from a diversity, equity, and inclusion and belonging workshop, decides to include me in the conversation. Oh, Claire, what do you think? After me decided to not say nothing. So I stumbled around and finally I heard myself say, well, I was walking by the White House the other day, and my God, I fell into the trap. I became one of those people who name dropped. I had fallen from my perch. Thank you.
Can we get just a round of applause to all the comics you saw? And can we get a round of applause to Elizabeth Fulton for teaching this? If you are sitting here thinking, you know what, I could do this, I could go on stage with a microphone and tell jokes, you should register for a Washington Improv Theater stand-up class or another class that's offered here because there are a bunch and you can find them all on our website, witdc.org. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a good night.